If you're new around these parts, I don't have a stove addiction. I just like buying lots of little stoves. If you're a regular to my channel, welcome back everybody. I've got a new one for you today. This is a stealth stove. I've got this for two reasons. One, it's made in the UK by a company called Polymath Products. They're actually based about a half-hour drive away from me in a place called Burnham-on-Sea. If you've never been to Burnham-on-Sea, you've not missed much. The other reason I got this was because it was £7 from Amazon. So I splashed out my hard-earned cash and got one. I've not seen much in the way of reviews on this. Not any that make good sense. So I thought I'd get him, open him up, have a proper look and find out what he's all about. Nice little waterproof pouch. Get rid of that. It's the instructions, but I've done a bit of research. I've got a rough idea, and so we'll wing it. So there we have it, nice and compact. I think it weighs about 100 grams. It's strapped together. Ooh, Velcro. It's Velcro together. There we go. And then we've got three main pieces. If I can get them apart. Oh, there we go. I'm trying out my new studio setup at the moment. So there's going to be a bit of glare, maybe a bit of dodgy sound, but eventually I'm going to get this right and make some nice little videos. The stove consists of three side panels that are 11 centimeters wide and 7 centimeters high. It's all made of stainless steel, and also there's a fuel plate there for solid fuel tablets. Oh, just noticed I put that one the other way round. There we go. You'll notice they've got cutouts, one at the top and one a little bit further down facing a downward angle. That's so they can all go together. Let's slot them in. Put an uppy with a downy. Put him together. Slot it in. Lovely job. And then we get the next one. I'm all over the place here. I've got funny eyesight, so I can see it fine through the camera. I can't see anything in front of me, so I'm moving around. It's like, for goodness sake, man, get yourself sorted out. There we are. That goes there, and then we'll put the last slot in there and see how well he slots in. Is that it? No, we're not quite there yet. That's better. I guess with things like this, once you've used them a few times, you'll get to know how they work. There's the boil plate. It's not a boil plate, it's a fuel tablet plate. Just thought I'd correct myself there. Looks like he's going to slot in. Hello, is he too short? Probably not. Maybe that's what gives him a lot of strength and rigidity. There we go. Put him down. That's nice and solid. So if you was going with your fuel tablets, that would work. What about width wise? Give you a idea. Small cup going on there. That works nicely, doesn't it? Nice and solid. He's not going anywhere. BCB mug. It's quite impressive. Okay, I'll go with that. And let's go with the Stanley Cook set. How well does he slot on there? Because I know lots of you out there have got a Stanley Cook set. Okay, what do you think? Let's have a little close up and see how he fits. Oh dear, doesn't quite go on there as I'd like. You've got this dip just here like the cutouts, and the Stanley's cook set kind of sits on it, but when you turn him around he's not quite on it, if you get my meaning. Well, that was interesting. Just as a thought, I was wondering if you had a small alcohol stove. This is one I bought, I've not used it yet. They're basically all the same, aren't they? They've got a little bit of tin on the outside, material on the inside. Put your meths in there, your alcohol, put them inside, and away you go. This one's 10 centimeters wide, or 2 inches for you nice American people out there. Sorry, I forgot about you earlier. Let's see if he'll slot in. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay. What I thought was, because of the height, he might work out nicely in there if he just slotted on. What about if we turn him out the other way? Okay, that might work. Or will it? I'm learning as I go along here. That's part of the fun about having new things and playing around with them. You always want to know what they work with and what they don't work with. So we've got a wider pot with everything that way up. That looks good. But what about our headspace for the alcohol stove? Let's try this. There's not a lot of space at all there, really. May work at a pinch. Okay, so I've taken the solid fuel tablet plate out. And when I've seen the website for Polymath products, they've got this used in conjunction with a transure. So let's sit a transure in there. Now, I did see a review somewhere, I can't remember where, and they said that there's not enough headspace between the top of the transure and the top of the stove. So what they did, they dug a bit of a hole in the ground and sunk it down a bit. That was the review. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so we've got our transure. We'll put the stove over the top. We'll get our piece of wood. And on there I've got my tape measure. I'll bring him in tune, we get him in focus. So from that you can see we got about 1/2 inch. Is that enough? Well, I've used stoves like this with that kind of headroom, but the ideal, I believe, is around 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters. So for one of these little things, which is a lot shorter, that should work beautifully. And the heat will be funneled up in a conical shape towards the pot. That's my thoughts anyway. There's something else I've just realised. Having taken out the fuel tablet plate, if you had a bigger pot and you wanted to sit it on top, we've taken away some of the rigidity. Now this is a MSR pot, this is 1 litre, and yes, it works, but you'd have to be very careful. You could always get that bit of slippage going on, because the width of this now is far greater than what it is with the plate inserted, holding it all together. Having said that, if you use it the right way up as it's intended, solid as a rock. Okay, so where are we with this so far? Well, to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed. I kind of expected more, but you might say to me, well, it was only £7. Right. In answer to that, BCB cooker, they're less than £7. Obviously, I've chopped one of mine about. I've cut it out to fit gas in it because, you know, that's what I do. But if you was to use this as it was intended, you've got the nice tray inside there where you could put your solid fuel, liquid fuel, if you had a bit of foil there as well. With this, it's a bit of a one-trick pony so far. Fuel tablets, yeah, that would work. I guess part of the problem I've got is this. Firebox Nano. It does everything you want it to do. For me, this sets the gold standard for a multifunctional small stove. You can use it with wood, you can use it with alcohol stoves, you know, your transure and everything. You can use it with fuel tablets. It's pretty much limitless for what it is. So in my head, rightly or wrongly, I try and compare everything to that. Now that might be a bit unfair, I'll freely admit that, but if you have something that's so good, that's what sets the standard and you compare things to. Okay, enough of that. Let's get a bit of positivity going on here. Let's get some good vibes going. Who would this be for? Your day trippers, you know, your cycle backpackers, your bushcrafters. If you want to go out with a small, say 10 centimetre billy can, then obviously that'd be an ideal place to keep it. So you take it apart and you store it in there and you're good to go. And in conjunction with a transure, you've got a complete little cook set. Right, enough of that rambling. Let's take him outside and set fire to him. He's been going for an absolute age. Oh, you can tell it's very inclement weather. It's pouring down. We've got a bit of flame though, so, you know. Is there enough headspace? Well, it's certainly going alright. This is really difficult to film and try and show you. But with this so low on there, it's cutting out a lot of the oxygen, so it's not giving a chance for the flame to rise up. So I've got a much smaller flame, almost like we've got a simmering on it, and so, as soon as you take that away, then it can breathe again. Right, I've had a bit of inspiration. What I've done, I've put some broken tiles underneath and that's lifted it up. And you can see the massive difference with the flame. So let's put him on now. That's much better. I can feel some heat from here. If we lift that up, you can see that he's getting loads and loads of oxygen now. And he's performing how a transure should perform. Right, I got totally bored with that. It's cold, it's miserable, it's wet. So what I thought I'd do, I'd try one of these other type of alcohol stoves, which is much lower and wider. This is the Bushcraft Essentials one. So what I thought I'd do is put them over the top, and I think it'll perform a lot better. It's been on there for a few minutes. I'm much happier with that. I brought you inside now to come to some sort of conclusion. My conclusion is that I'm not really impressed with this, to be honest. But this is just my opinion. You might think differently, which is absolutely fine by me. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. With the transure, it doesn't really work, and there's no way it's going to work with the simmer ring on top. So I've got to be careful. Still got fuel in there, so that's a big no-no. With a much shorter stove, something like this is 2 inches wide. The actual main unit's still outside. Let's grab one of these. There we are. I've got another one here. With something like this, that gives you a reasonable amount of headspace, so it works and functions a lot better. But overall, bit disappointing, really. Yeah. What more can I say? You can all draw your own conclusions. Feel free to leave comments. Give us your thoughts. Thanks for watching. See you next time. InfoZhed out.